Hello again everybody, and welcome to yet more new subscribers. Very pleased to see you turning up here. Haven't spent any time out in the workshop this week other than the odd 10 minutes here and there doing a little bit of clearing up, because I mean frankly this place is a complete disaster, truthfully. It hasn't been warm. It's quite warm today. It's a whole 6 degrees C out here, and I've had the my big fan heater on for an hour or so. Anyway, I had a couple of little tool purchases. One of them quite interesting, and I'm going to show you that on the milling machine. And I think that's about it for the moment. And I have been looking at the Marini Club bike, and I need to get some work done on that. I can't have it sitting here with nothing going on. I've got to just keep making a little bit of progress. We'll see if that comes out as a separate video this week. So anyway, let's get on with things. Well, the first little purchase is a nice black chrome scale, and I've had a couple of these at work for quite a while. And it just occurred to me that I'd quite like one at home, and went looking for them and found one on eBay for a sensible price, new old stock, or new, depending on how you look at it. And let's see if I can find an angle where it doesn't reflect, and we'll zoom you in here. Doesn't like going in any further this. Okay, here we go. And this is PEC or PEC tools. You can see made in USA. They're still in business and produce quite a nice range of stuff. The prices look pretty reasonable. I won't say that they're the very highest quality possible tools, but they're pretty nice. Let's bring you up here, and on this side you got the 32nds and 64ths, 16ths, and on the bottom 10ths, 100ths, 50ths, 20ths, and of course it is this nice satin black chrome, which other than when I get you bouncing light completely off, and even then it's still kind of readable. They're quite nice to read. And on the reverse side we've got the metric, and you know, it's got a calibration temperature, a couple of conversion factors, and I think I paid about £8. You know, they're more expensive than that from Linear Tools in the UK. Stocks these. Now the next tool was a little more on the expensive side. And I've seen people talk about the 3D indicators on various forums. The more affordable ones are made in China, and they go on about how those stupid Chinese calling it a 3D taster. Well, that's because the design is German, and taster means touch in German, so it's not a mistake on the part of the Chinese. They copied the original. And it has to be said, I had a one of the Chinese indicators. I only paid £10 for it, and it didn't work for very long. The dial mechanism jammed. I have seen decent ones. I think SPI ones are okay. And if you've watched any of NYCNC, John's videos, you'll have seen him using the Heimer, which is the original. of these. But I spotted this, and Sean is German. You know, this king comes in a really nice blow moulded case, set of instructions. Of course, this thing was calibrated back in 2013, which might indicate it's been in stock for a while. But you've got the accuracy figures for probing, which I presume is the Z-axis, repeatability and runout, and these are in millimeters, so that's 1/1000th of a millimeter. Let's have a quick look at the unit itself. So you grip it by the top, and this is 12mm, which is a bit more convenient than a lot of the Heimer or Heimer copies, which are 20mm. And you've got some screws at the top here, and those are for actually adjusting the instrument to be concentric. And you've got the probe on the end, and if I move the probe towards me, when it's on 0 on the coarse scale and fine scale, then the axis of the instrument is over the edge you're touching, and it works in X and Y, so I'm moving it towards me at the moment, and in Z2. So the Z's not immensely useful on a manual machine, but is on a CNC. But obviously this is a very quick way of picking up edges. It's more accurate than the your standard wiggler or edge finder. And I'll set this up on the mill in a minute, and we'll have a proper look at how it's used. But this was from Metrology and Quality Services Limited. Now, I've bought from them before, and although I was happy with the prices, I wasn't happy with the service at all. They were having problems with their website that was showing stock when there was none, but they didn't bother to tell me that there was a problem with the website and there would be a delay until I'd actually phoned them up and complained. I've given them a second chance. The price on this, I can't get this is cheap on eBay, direct from Germany. It was cheaper from MQS, including the delivery. I did place the order online over the Christmas period, but even accounting for going back to working days, given that this item was showing in stock and clearly was, it wasn't next day dispatch. You know, that's what you expect from a website based, or a business with a website these days, is if it's in stock you expect it to be dispatched the next day. It was dispatched in a few working days. You know, I'd use them again. They didn't have problems this time, but I'm a little bit disappointed with the speed, and I'll leave feedback to that effect, because you know, you just expect, if a company's gone to the trouble of setting up an online system, one of the reasons for doing it is it's fast. It means you can order something one evening, having discovered a problem or a need during the day. You sit down that evening, you put the order in, it gets processed the next day, and you hopefully have it the next. So, as I say, good prices. I think the service could be better, but it wasn't actually bad this time. Oh, I should take. It's quite a nice case because it's got proper over-centre clips, and it's a proper hinge, not a flexure. So there's a reasonable chance the box won't fall apart in 5 minutes. Now, in the repairing the GTS video, you saw me using my scope soldering iron and having to do a few running repairs. and I went looking for spares for them, and they're not the easiest things to find. Quite a lot of the websites I found were out of stock. Some of the eBay traders had very, very limited stock. Some of them were asking for quite unreasonable sums of money for international postage. And I had actually contacted Bruce Whittam, whose channel some of you may have come across, and he was a contributor to the Toolbox giveaway, because some of the companies wouldn't post outside Australia, and I asked him and he'd agreed to post on. But in the end, by using my Linux laptop and convincing Google that I was actually in Australia, I found some more suppliers and got this little lot from Wiltronics, and they had everything I wanted. They got the 2 different styles of tips, the carbon heating elements, and bought a complete spare pushrod assembly. But one of the things and the shipping was quite reasonable, so I didn't have to go through Bruce. But one of the things they didn't have, that I may have to get Bruce to source for me, is a replacement handle. Because last time you saw me using this style, which is the more modern incarnation, and all the guts are essentially the same. But this is a Bakelite handle. Also, you've got this older style of transformer compared to the modern plastic cased one. But these have got proper spring strain relief with a grommet. I much prefer this style of pushring, and I may in fact make a replacement pushring for one of these more modern handles in this style. I just want to get hold of some black Delray, and all I've got some soft white nylon. But as you can see, this handle is broken, and it's been repaired a couple of times. Being of Bakelite, it is a little bit fragile. The handles are available, and they're not terribly expensive. They're all of about 25 Australian dollars. But you get hit with the postage, and I think this can be glued at least one more time. But I would quite like to get hold of a replacement handle, because the more of these set up and ready to go, the better. Really, there's 2 different styles of tip. There's a fine tip and this big wedge tip that I find good for auto electrical work. But anyway, I'm very pleased that I've now got enough spares to keep me running, at least on the 2 other irons, for a good few years. Okay, I've got the indicator mounted in a drill chuck at the moment, simply because I don't have a 12mm collet. Thought I did. Apparently not. I've got a 10mm. So obviously the accuracy is not very high. We're probably out 2 or 3 thou on a drill chuck. But to just show you how it operates, I've got the spindle locked using the back gear mechanism. So if we zoom in, and I bring up to the edge of the vice jaw, and we're watching the coarse scale coming up to 0 and fine scale coming up to 0. And that's it. So that's the X at 0. If I zero the DRO and we'll back off and we'll come up to it again. And the DRO says 0. The DRO's 5 micron resolution, and we can very quickly zero onto the vice jaw. We can check the repeatability in that axis. And we're getting 0 again. So it's very quick. And as I said earlier, it also probes in the Z-axis. Which is not particularly useful, although you can use it obviously for measuring the height of features. In because I've got a scale on the knee on this machine, I could be well, I can do that here, because if I go to the if I zero out on the back of the vice behind the jaw and zero the Z, and zero out on the jaw itself, and I'm getting 2.86 millimeters difference, which is the height of the jaw above the body of the vice. So I'm sure that's going to be a very nice addition to the armoury for centering up in holes and finding edges, and is meant to be a great deal more accurate than the other methods.